Good morning, traders. What's up, everybody? What's going on? Sounds good, Sasmit. Have a good one. Good luck. Make the right choices. Good morning, Shazmiguez. So I actually am in a trade right now. I'll show you my chart and kind of explain why I got in it. I've already moved my stop loss to break even. A couple reasons, because we're sitting right at VWAP, so it could bounce. And also with the market opening in just a couple minutes, I don't really want to put any risk on. But my reasoning for it was we were rejecting Asia high. That's also the high value area high from the overnight trading session. And then this is the point of control from overnight trading. So we broke below that and it's starting to look a little bit heavy. But like I said, we're sitting right at VWAP right now and the market's about to open in 8 minutes. So I put my stop loss at break even. But it's breaking below this high volume node. So I could see there possibly being continuation down. And then I've targeted the VWAP band, which is also at this next high volume node. Good afternoon for you in the UK. What is it? Anchorman? I don't remember the movie, but good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Or good morning, good evening, and good night. Something like that. Depending on where you're watching in the world. I'm totally butchering the movie line, but there's some movie that talks about that or has that line. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Depending on where you're watching in the world. I'll have to go look that up so I can get it right next time. No, it's not Anchorman. It's The Truman Show, I think. Have you guys ever seen that movie? Yeah, Anchorman's a funny movie. Yep, it's The Truman Show. You're right, no diggity. What does he say though? Good morning, good evening, and good night? Is that what it is? Good morning, good evening, and good night, depending on where you're watching in the world. Truman Show is a good movie too. Alright, so if you're just tuning in, first, go hit that like button. I appreciate it. But like I was saying before, I am sitting in this trade. I got in because we couldn't break above Asia high. Got below that overnight point of control and starting to look a little bit heavy on this 15-minute candle. We still have 5 minutes left for this candle to close, but so far it's a pretty bearish candle. And I do have my stop loss at break even just because we were sitting right at VWAP and then the market's opening in 5 minutes. So, but now it's looking pretty good, breaking below VWAP. What's the proof I took the trade? I know, right? This totally could be my practice account, Sasmit. Alright, breaking below VWAP. I'm kind of torn on my target just because, like I said, the market is opening soon. I could target this London low right at like 750. Or we do have this high volume node over here from the overnight session at like 7:37. You need to see my tax filings. Yeah, for real. That'd be the only way. Even then though, you can like create those. You'd have to like see the document and have it notarized. Oh, good times, good times. I don't even know why I'd go through that trouble. Like, I could see where there's some people that have 100,000 followers and they make so much money off of like affiliate fees and stuff, but I'm not there yet, so I have no reason to fake it. You're right, Sasmit. I just can't win. Paul, good morning. What's up? I love that you stopped by in the morning to say good morning, Paul. And then I assume you go do your own trading, because I don't hear you talking much while we're trading. Or maybe you listen in and you're just quiet. I don't know. All right, Sasmit, go get them. All right, I'm going to put my target at 740. Because that is the top of this high volume node. It's not a very high volume node, honestly, but that's kind of the next area, and I don't want to be too greedy with my target. Holy cow. All right, I'm going to scale out here, because this could be a good position to be in and ride into the open. We do have a huge gap. We opened up with a gap fill last night, or a gap last night. So there could be a gap fill coming, but that's a long way down. I don't know about that. Gap fill would be down around like 670-ish. All right, you guys, market's opening in about 1 minute. I'll trail this down a little bit and just ride it into the open, see what we get. I'm gonna go ahead and take off 2 right now, just because it did come down to that London low and kind of paused a little bit. I'll lock in some profits. Did anyone trade last night? I know a couple people in Discord were talking about how they took some trades on gold. Or take any trades this morning? Market's opening down. Holy cow, you guys. Oh, Sui USDT, talking about some crypto trades. Very nice. I haven't even looked at crypto this morning. All right, well, Are we going for a gap fill already this morning? It's looking like it, you guys. We're already down to where we opened at 700, and we're continuing to go. Gap fill coming in hot. Well, you guys, my daily profit target on this account is $900, so we might hit it within the first couple minutes of the open. There is our gap fill right there pretty much, and it's just continuing to go down. Alright, I bought one more, took off one more, just because we did kind of bounce a little bit at that gap fill. And I'll trail my stop loss a little bit more. Just have 2 contracts left on this trade. Might be where we bounce right here. I'll take one more off and just leave one contract to see what it does. Trail it a little bit more. Kind of sitting at that gap, deciding what it wants to do. Well, if it is going to bounce at that gap, it's not trying very hard. Alright, I'm out. There we go. Not a bad way to start the day. Now, let's go back to the charts and see what else we can find. If that doesn't deserve a hit on the like button, I don't know what does. That was fun. About 5 minutes, made $734. Oh, man. So, it filled the gap. It's kind of bouncing, but man, it doesn't look very energetic on that bounce, you guys. I'm kind of thinking maybe pull back to go short. If we can get a pullback, might be able to go short. Did anyone jump in on that short as it started to go down? Might have been a little bit hard to get in on if you weren't early. Just because it kind of just went down. It didn't really give much of a pullback. Travis got in. There you go. Nice job. All right, it's rejecting previous day high. I don't like the idea of entering short here. I don't love it, just because that feels a little bit like chasing. Because there's that huge move that it could still retrace to, but previous day high is usually a decent resistance. Morning, G-Man. Are you trading at all today, or are you locked out on all of your accounts? Yeah, it came back up to that previous day high and started to reject from there. So possible pullback area, this London low was a decent support earlier for one. I mean, it's not a huge support. Honestly, it's hard to find support and resistance up here at all-time highs. But that was the London low, and that's currently where VWAP is sitting. But that's a big pullback with how heavy it's been. I don't know if we'll get that. Really, entering on that pullback and rejection from previous day high looks like it would have been a good entry. But again, to me that feels like it would have been chasing. All right, coming down lower. This is not quite what I was expecting, you guys. You know what though? We have this whole earnings pump from yesterday afternoon. Honestly, it could retrace that whole move. It is possible. And all of our areas of support, like fair value and stuff from yesterday, is way lower. So we have some good targets lower. We just gotta wait for a good pullback to enter. We'll see how long my voice holds up today. My daughter had a cold, and then my husband got it. And that was all happening in our house like 10 days ago. I thought I was good. I thought I missed it. Last night I started to feel the headache and the congestion coming on. I was like, dang it, I think I got it. No fun. All right, let me put on our New York anchored VWAP here. And then start drawing up our 15-minute range. See if we can get a trade off of that. Our 15-minute high is right at the London low. I'll erase London low. 15-minute high is also right at VWAP. That'd be interesting if it pulls all the way back up to the top of the range. Would be a possible entry for a short if we get all the way back up there. Man, I don't want to chase this, but it looks like, I mean, if it breaks below this 15-minute opening range low, which is sitting right at this chop, the top of the fair value gap from the earnings candle, there's a long way down. Looks like it's trying to find a little bit of support here. Are you going to trade with your practice account again, or your paper trading account? Be Frosty, how do you wake up tilted? Like, did you take some trades last night and you're still angry from that? Or you're just like in a mood where you feel like you're ready to gamble? What does that even mean? Oh, you're like in the mood to go sit at a blackjack table and gamble. That's what you're talking about. Go big or go home. Yeah, G-Man, I was waiting for that too, but I was like, man, this deal is too good. So, Tradeify, you guys, if you haven't seen in Discord, they have a crazy flash sale going on. So, they cut the prices already just for the fun of it, and then on top of that, if you use code Krista, they have the 35% discount. So, I loaded up on their 50K straight to funded. They call it lightning funded now. But they were $250, so cheaper than anything else out there. Crazy good deal. Good morning, JC Trades. Yeah, no diggity. Crypto is a casino because it's open 24 hours. Well, I thought it was starting to establish some support. I thought we'd get a pullback, but nope. It's breaking below that, starting to enter that fair value gap. I'm going to take a short and just put my stop loss right above this chop right here. So, not huge risk. It was a little bit of a chase. My reasoning for it though was this fair value gap started right here. Thought it was holding that target and it never really bounced from there. So now that it entered this fair value gap, I feel like we have some more downside. Dang, that was a big wick down. Let's see if it continues. So the 15-minute range is officially set at this point. So it's breaking below. Min, just because my daily profit target for consistency in this account is $900. So that's where I would lock up my account. But honestly, I think it's going to go a whole lot lower. I mean, if this heaviness continues, it already filled the gap and just kept going. And now we have that whole earnings gap, I think is what you were talking about. The fair value gap from last night's earnings. So that was why I entered this short, is because we broke below, like we entered the fair value gap and starting to go lower. G-Man, yeah, I got in this trade. You were a little bit later on the live stream, so you missed it. But I entered the trade like 15 minutes before the open. I was in a short. It rejected Asia high and then got below the point of control from the overnight session and just started to look weak. So I entered and just wrote it down pretty much to the gap fill. I scaled out a little bit on the way. Alright, I'm moving my stop loss lower. I don't like this bounce and I don't want to give back my money. Okay, I'm out. We might be getting that retrace. Let me adjust my 15-minute lines. So this is where the 15-minute opening range low is. It's starting to pull back into it. But we're still stuck below this New York anchor VWAP, so we'll see. That could be a little fake out to the downside. Trap all those people like me that were going short on the opening range break. This could be our retrace back to VWAP. It doesn't look like it, you guys, but these are big candles. Like I was kind of just doing quick math in my head to see if I entered here and put my stop loss at this wick down here. That's a 40-point stop loss. So it doesn't look like much, but size down for sure. Good afternoon, Marcus. Yeah, NQ closed the gap too. Starting to bounce a little bit. I'm gonna enter along 3 contracts, so 662.5. And then we'll see how it reacts at VWAP up here. Probably should have waited for confirmation of it breaking through VWAP. Yeah, be frosty with the 20% consistency rule. You have to aim for base hits. So what I do is I figure out what I want my total account profit to be. Like I'll tell you in Top 1 Features, for example, you only have to make, I think the target officially is $3,500 in the 50K account before you can request a payout. But I'm making my target $4,500 because your max payout is $2,500. So if I take $2,500 out of the account, I want to give myself a $2,000 buffer left in there so I can keep trading after that. So if you're following my math, that's why my target is $4,500. And if you take 20% of that, your max that you can win is $900 in a day. So that's how I figure the math out, is just kind of do it backwards. Figure out what you want your total account balance to be in like a perfect situation, and then take 20% of that and set your personal daily profit target at that. Let me know if that made sense. If not, I'll re-explain it or answer any questions. All right, it's coming up. Again, my profit target in this account is 900, so it'll lock me out at that point, which is right about there. Be frosty, that's the rule. 20% is the rule in the sim funded stage, yes. But once you go to live, no, there's no consistency rule at all. All right, I'm gonna put this at break even in case it goes crazy with news or whatever we have going on. Not real news, but like Trump tweet news. Yeah, be frosty. I like the consistency rule better. Like I trade better with the consistency rule. I have a couple other accounts too where it's the kind where you don't have a consistency rule and you can just trade as much as you want. My track record is that I blow those more often. I know it sounds dumb, but I think it's just because there aren't as many of those like guardrails that you have to stay within. And I just keep trading because I'm like, oh, I can make more money. But when I have specific rules, like I can only make this much and then I have to walk away, it forces me to slow down a little bit. And those are the accounts that I take payouts from. The ones where I can just make as much money as I want, I blow those. So I don't know if that helps at all. The futures desk, the futures desk is the one that I would recommend if you have like a good trading system and you're taking regular payouts and you don't have to worry about capped payouts. They have the fastest path to live. So the way the futures desk works is it's a 5-day eval, and then they put you in like a brief sim funded account where you're basically just trading for your buffer amount, and then straight from there you're immediately in a live account with daily payouts, no caps, no consistency, nothing. Like you get to trade like a real trader in a brokerage account. And that's in as little as 6 days if you pass the eval in 5 days, and then you get the buffer in 1 day. So if you're a good trader, that's the best firm to trade with for sure. No, if you make 10K, you don't get to take out all 10K. All of these prop firms have a split. Like Top Step, for example, they only let you take out 50% of your profits because they want you to keep the rest for a buffer. The futures desk, the one that I'm talking about, you can take out as much as you want, but they have an 80-20 profit split. So with the futures desk, you can technically take out 80%. Top Step, you can only take out 50%. there's some people that do market orders and do really well with it. Cheechamus, I do not love setting limit orders, mostly because the reverse can happen. Like, yeah, you can just miss it by a tick or whatever, miss your entry by a tick. But the biggest thing is, like, if I set an entry at VWAP or something and I'm expecting it to bounce and then it just dumps straight through it, then I'm screwed. You know what, you guys? I did my math wrong. I'm annoyed that I just took profit there. I have a $900 profit target, so I still have $100 left. Ah. Alright, I'm going to do this stupid thing and just enter from here and see if it keeps going. Don't do what I just did. That was dumb, you guys. I'm just riding momentum at this point and a little bit annoyed that I took profit early. I'm not going to let it come back down that far, though. That was stupid. Keep talking? No, I just messed up. I can't do math. Need to get my 10-year-old to come in here and do math for me because apparently I can't subtract. Ah, that's annoying. That's all right. It'll all work out. Do I teach my kids to trade? No, like I haven't really got into like strategy with them. That's a little bit too complicated. They're all pretty young. I have a 10-year-old and then 7-year-old twins. But they do understand some of the basics. Like they know what these like long and short position tools mean. They know that if it's in the red zone, that's not good, and if it's in the green zone, mom's making money. So they'll like watch my computer screen and cheer for me, like, go, 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 go. That's pretty funny. All right, got stopped out. That was stupid. Okay, get my head back on right. Green means more trips to the water park. Yep. So it's coming back down to VWAP, also the lower edge of the band. So this could possibly be a good pullback entry, but I'm going to be patient and make sure of it. My older son loves sushi, but, you know, sushi's not cheap. Going to a restaurant in general with a family of 5 with big eaters, like my kids don't order off the kids menu anymore. I mean, even if you go to a cheap restaurant, that's expensive. So a sushi restaurant, I'm like, dang kid, I'm going to wait for a payout. So he knows if mom gets a payout, we're going to sushi. All right, let's see if it holds this level. Right at anchored VWAP and the VWAP band. Okay. Holding that level, small risk, I'll put it right below there because that's basically where it was bouncing. And then let's see if it gets back up to VWAP around 729. And I can do math this time. It doesn't even need to go all the way up there to hit my top profit target for the day. Oh. Asmit, your kids are gonna come out of the womb understanding probabilities. Poker players. What did my entry end up being? So I can put it right. 682. Well, it's slowed down a little bit. The momentum is gone. Teach them also how taxes work. Yeah, that's the less fun part about all of it. Oh, you taught your 4-year-old some patterns. That's cool. Maybe I could start teaching my kids some of the simple stuff like, I don't know, trend lines or something that's like not too hard, or how to find like support and resistance levels. If you guys haven't already, I just put the Discord community link in the chat. I've had a couple people ask about making one, so I did. I just started it, what is it, about a week ago now. So just a good spot for us to share our wins and losses and trades we're taking outside of the live trading. Teach them how to evade taxes. Set up some offshore accounts or whatever people do. I don't even know. I don't know anything about what you're talking about. I have no idea. I don't know how any of that works. I've barely figured out a VPN, but that's just because I traded crypto a while ago, and a lot of the brokers, I guess you call them, you can't trade with them if you're a US citizen. So I figured out the VPN. And then they took it a step further where you had to be KYC'd, and that doesn't work because my ID is, I'm American. So probably shouldn't talk about this, but there are countries where you can just like buy a citizenship. And all of that doesn't matter anymore because it's starting to be allowed in the US. But yeah, there's definitely ways around it. I don't know anything about hiding money in offshore accounts and like evading taxes, but there's a lot of shady stuff behind the scenes that people can do. It's funny, this is kind of off subject, but when my husband and I sold our gym, we were talking about buying a laundromat just because it's a really good, like, high win rate, I guess. I'm talking in trading terms, but high success rate. Because everyone always needs to do their laundry. Like, it's recession proof, it's just a good, steady business. But when we told our family about it, they're like, haha, are you gonna launder money? I was like, no, like, we actually wanted to buy a laundromat. We thought it was a good investment. We still do, like, it's a good business. Either a laundromat or a storage unit. We're looking at a laundromat because they're a lot cheaper than storage units. We didn't find one where the numbers made sense, but it just made me think of it because we're on the topic of evading taxes. Part of the reason that it's hard to buy a laundromat is because no one pays taxes with them. So if we were to get a business loan, we don't have any P&Ls from the business to show that like this business actually makes money. Most of them do make a ton of money, but they don't show it because everything is quarters and cash, and they pay their employees cash under the table. So that's kind of where we got stuck. Is if you want to buy a laundromat, at least around here, the ones that we've looked at, you need to have cash to buy it. And we don't have that kind of cash. We were going to get a business loan. Okay, now the feds are not listening anymore. I can tell the truth. Oh, funny. Well, I don't like that it's rejecting that area. It's not breaking through. This is the previous day high that it's sitting under. Still holding above this anchored VWAP though. Alright, technically have my stop loss here. Well, we've kind of gone back to our pattern from, what was it, last week? Where the first 30 minutes of the open is crazy volatile. And then it just puts everyone to sleep after that. Looks like we're coming down. We're rejecting that previous day high. And it's going to stop me out. Alright, guys. I'm going to take a little break because I've taken a couple stupid trades. Alright. going to set up the form for our giveaway. No diggity, you're an undercover spy in my chat? What is going on? Get out of here. Be frosty, start doing your warm-ups. Alright guys, we have 13 likes. 30 people watching. Let's see if we can get the likes up to 30, guys. We'll give it a little bit of time. I gotta set my form up anyway. Go hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. You've been following me for some time, watching to make sure I'm legit with my other business. You're gonna report me if you find anything shady. All right, we have about 15 minutes until the initial balance is set. Let's see what our current session volume profile is looking like. Sitting right around the point of control right now. This is an interesting spot. Point of control for the session, still below the overnight VWAP, kind of starting to look weak around the New York VWAP. I could see us possibly going down from here, but we could also retrace back up to VWAP too. Point of control is usually an area where it gets pretty choppy. Lots of transactions in that area. Buyers and sellers kind of putting on a fight there. You'll let it slide if I let your duck win. is making some lower lows. I'm not a trend line trader, but just to kind of show it's trending down. You could get a little propeller or a motor for your duck. It would be under the water. I wouldn't be able to tell if you're cheating. B Frosty wants Trump duck. It's fighting with this area, that's for sure. Alright, getting this forum set up. Make sure I have the permissions set right. What are you guys thinking on this price action? I don't know. It's stuck below, like I said, below that point of control. Previous day high is usually a good sign for resistance, especially for, like, if you look at the higher time frame. How do I turn off my drawings? There we go. We have that big old candle that could be retraced. Where does that fair value gap start? Right there at like 653. I know, I'm well aware that fair value gaps don't always fill, but that right there is a big fair value gap. So it kind of wicked into it and bounced, and it's holding support at the top, but if it starts to get into there, there's a long way down, and the bottom of the fair value gap is yesterday's point of control, so that's interesting. If I was to take bets, I would say this thing's coming down to 485, 490. A fair value gap, I don't trade them, like I don't enter trades usually based off of it. I watch them. Basically it just means there was a giant pump without a ton of volume. Like it wasn't like this where there was like lots of trading and it retraced it. There was lots of volume in this area. Another way to look at it is if you look at the visible range volume profile, there's not really a whole lot of volume on this whole pump up. So basically what that means is if it enters this fair value gap, which is the gap between the last candle here and the bottom candle here, that big old gap, if it enters that, there's a likelihood that it could just come all the way back down. which makes a lot of sense because you can see this point of control where there's a lot of volume traded in this area. That's support. There's not really a ton of support right here. So that's why I feel like now that it's entering this fair value gap and showing some weakness, it's not holding support at the top for 490-ish, 485. That could be where it's headed today. Oh, Usain Bolt duck. That would be a good one. D, did that make sense how I explained the fair value gap? It's basically, let me see if I can find a shorter time frame one. So it's kind of hard when I have all my drawings on here. Let's see if I can find, I'm not trading right now, so I'll go to a blank chart. I'll save this one real quick. I'll turn off the VWAP to make it a little bit cleaner. So usually you want to go to a higher time frame, so like the 1 hour, for example. I'll go over to the fair value gap that I'm talking about right now. So if you take the top of the most recent candle down to like this candle right here, if you take the previous candle, you have that spot up to the next candle right there. That is the fair value gap. But those gaps change. Like if you go to the 4 hour, it might look a little bit different. The 4 hour fair value gap is right there because it's where the candle above or previous and after the top and the bottom wicks of the candle before and the candle after. Hopefully that made sense. So there's different ways to look at it. Some people trade just because it's a fair value gap. But for me, it makes more sense that it would pass through the fair value gap just because there's not a lot of volume in that area. So there's not much support and resistance. Coming back down to that opening range low. Yeah, Min, I agree. Some people call it a fair value gap. To me, it makes sense that there's just no volume in that area. But they usually line up pretty good. No diggity, your FVG definition, did you chat GPT that real quick? That was a very good definition. Very textbook. Yeah, man, that's a lot of times how I find confluence for stuff is just kind of pulling together, like, if there's a support level and the volume profile and the 15-minute opening range, and like if everything lines up for me to enter this trade and I have like 3 or 4 reasons, then I'm like, okay, this makes sense. But it's a lot of times it's pulling together different strategies or whatever. All right, where are we at on likes, you guys? $24. I knew it, no diggity. I'm not saying you're not smart, but that was a very textbook answer. And a lot of times when you're just like typing real quick in a chat, there's like spelling errors or it doesn't quite make sense. uh. All right, let me grab this link. I'll give you guys a chance to start filling it out for the giveaway. We'll give it some time, you guys. Maybe we'll do it in 10 minutes or so. So it hit the bottom of that opening range low, got a little bounce. I'm not sold on longs just because it's below all of my levels. Point of control, VWAP, all that stuff. I think we're going lower. Stop loss would have to be so high though. Oh, Sasmit. Sasmit's telling you guys not to fill out the form because he wants to win. He'll have a good chance. Odds would be more in his favor. Where is this thing headed? Seems like it wants to bounce. It just hasn't grabbed enough like liquidity to go up. And it's stuck below quite a bit of resistance right now. Min, you've never signed up just because you already have other accounts that you trade, but you've never done the duck race. That's the part you're missing out on. It's fun. All right, I'll give it till 9:35, 10:35 Eastern. So 3 more minutes. If you haven't already, go fill out that form. Hit the like button. bounced off that opening range low, but it's not really getting momentum up. Like I said, it feels like it wants to bounce. It just might need to come back down and grab a little bit more liquidity. The chances are going to be good for you guys today. Last time we had like 30 entries for the duck race. We have 15 today. The odds are good. All right, coming back down. Rejecting that point of control and VWAP area. Let's see how far it comes. Value area high could be a decent support. And then that point of control, level at 490, 485-ish. That's where I see it going. Yep, duck race in 1 minute, G-Man. Why 601, Min? I don't see that level. I mean, there's a decent volume node right there. But if you look left, a lot of the support I see is from like 585 to, I don't know. I don't really see 600. Your life is based on Fridays nowadays? What does that mean? Like you blow your accounts on Fridays? Is that what you're talking about? Or what? Alright, you guys. Last call. 30 seconds. Oh, duck race days. Yeah, today's Thursday though. I surprised you guys. I'm actually not going to be live streaming tomorrow. I'm going to take the day off of trading and take my kids to the beach. I haven't done super well with trading on Fridays lately. So I'm just going to take a day off from trading. Go enjoy the last couple days of summer that we have before school starts. Oh, Travis, I'll give you a second to fill it out because you're one of our OGs. There's a form in the chat. I'll post it again. So go click on that Google form that I just posted in the chat. Enter your name, and then I'll put your name in the duck race. Breaking out below that 15-minute low. We do have our initial balance set. So this wick right here is the initial balance low. So it technically could grab that liquidity and do a little fake out, break up to the upside. But I don't see that happening. I think there's a lot of levels lower. And I'm going to be doing the duck race, so I'll be a little bit distracted anyway. Which is good. I'm doing this on purpose because I took those stupid trades earlier and I need to cut myself off. Alright, you guys, form is closed. I'm going to grab everyone's name, copy it over to the duck race, and we'll get it done. We got 20 people. Alright, I'm gonna put the names list on here. Give you guys a chance real quick to check, make sure you're on there. All good, all good. Here we go. I don't know if there's sound. I had my computer sound off. Let's see. I've never played it before. That'd be funny if there was music to it. Just make the sound yourself. A Mission Impossible theme. Oh my gosh. Min's gonna go turn on his own music. I feel like it should be Eye of the Tiger. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Here we go. On your mark. Get set. Go. And we're off. We have a clown duck this time, you guys. That's a first. I like that one. D, you're a rock star duck. I like it. Got that mohawk going. Oh my gosh. We got a construction worker. Go, 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 go. Everyone's slow and steady. They realize that you gotta pace. At least no one's like totally off the screen. There have been times where ducks just like disappear on the back. It's like they quit the race. This is a close race, you guys. Uh-oh. Everyone's kind of pacing each other. Marcus, did you put on the nitro too soon? Uh-oh, someone's gonna come get you. G-Man's coming from behind. G-Man wins. G-Man, don't you work in a hospital? That's pretty funny that you're a doctor duck. What are the chances of that? I think G-Man works in a hospital. I don't think he's a doctor, but that's pretty funny. That was a good come from behind win. G-Man like paced it the whole time. G-Man, are you here? I know he's kind of in a meeting. There you go. We didn't see G-Man's duck at all the whole time, and then just randomly, the last 10 seconds, he just put on the boosters. Alright, coming back to that IB low, we did have that tiny little fake out, but that's not looking like a failed action to me. It looks like it wants to keep going lower. Well, congrats, G-Man. I'll send a message to you in Discord and get it set up for you. Alright, you guys. Honestly, I'm not sure if I'm going to trade anymore today. I had that, I finished with about $500. Had a couple of dumb trades where I didn't do my math right and set my profit target too early, and then took another stupid trade and gave some of it back. So I don't want to continue on that, and I'll probably close it out. But if I was to be looking for more trades, if it reclaims this initial balance low, like if there's a failed action somewhere down here, it grabs some liquidity and has a strong bounce back up, we could definitely move back higher, because this does kind of look like it wants to bounce, like it's trying to, but we need to grab a little bit more liquidity before getting a strong bounce. Or if this continues to stay heavy and it stays below initial balance low, that level down at point of control from yesterday looks pretty juicy. Alright, you guys. I'm going to call it there. And again, I'm not trading tomorrow because I'm going to take my kids to the beach. And I'll be back on Monday for a live stream. Yeah, I'm in 600. That was a pretty solid level. So this could be a failed action if it stays within this range and keeps going higher. Alright, guys. Have a good one. Take care.